Welcome back to Look News. We got a little bit of a different look for our Look at Finance segment. Stephen Carlton, first Vice President, Jenny Montgomery Scott.
Thanks, David. Good to be here.
We had a little bit of a problem with our TV, and you'll tell us how we get a cheap one a little later on.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, we'll get to that in just a minute. We got some big news happening in the markets, though. The GDP,
big surprise.
big surprise in GDP numbers, but that's causing stocks to sell off.
Well, it's one of these unusual circumstances, David, because sometimes good news is bad news, and so much of what has helped the stock market in particular has been the Fed's stimulus. It's been the quantitative easing, it's been the bond buying and everything else, and what's allowed them to do that is that the market was weak. So if the market starts to get better, and measurably better, i.e. through lower unemployment and better gross domestic product, GDP numbers, then that creates less of an incentive for the Fed to do that. So the stock market sold off today, even though we had some good news. The GDP numbers, 3.6%, way above expectations. We've been tracking much lower than that. So encouraging news, but this may put the pressure on the Fed to slow down the tapering sooner.
Causing the stocks to sell. There's really no way to dictate what's going on in these markets, because when things are bad, the markets are up. When things apparently are good, they're down.
There's a lot of unprecedented things going on. These are unusual times for a number of reasons.
As a layman, that's my take on it.
Yeah, I think you're not alone. There's so many people in the industry that have said part of what we've had to do to stimulate the economy, some of that has been non-traditional things, and the Fed has taken certain liberties to try to stimulate things in non-traditional ways. So it's definitely caused a lot of people to kind of scratch their heads.
Some numbers that will come out tomorrow, the unemployment numbers, you're predicting it's going to be around, by looking at all the data, it's going to be around 7%, more or less.
Well, I'm listening to a lot of what the analysts are saying. Non-farm payroll comes out tomorrow, and it's been going down pretty steadily now. And some of what we're seeing in this GDP suggests that we could see the number go from 7.3. Some are saying 7%, maybe even lower. Yeah.
Talking about jobless numbers, so as we reported earlier here in the broadcast, some mixed news in our area. AngioDynamics, their PR firm, really earning some big bucks today, calling this thing the Operational Excellence Program. Whoever came up with that should get a pat on the back, because what that title says is exactly the opposite of what they're doing. They're cutting 80 to 100 jobs, looking to save money. Obviously, the silver lining here is that they're going to continue to keep their operations in our area, but not good news for that 80 to 100 folks.
It's certainly not, David. You've got 900 people approximately employed there, but the more efficient, the more cost cutting they do, the commitment that they've made to being in Glens Falls, for the next number of years, that's good news. But you're right; it's not a great consolation to people that could be receiving those unemployment numbers.
Just some great wordsmithing there by the marketing firm at AngioDynamics. Livable wage. We're seeing a lot of strikes popping up across the country today and tomorrow. Of course, these are McDonald's workers, fast food workers, looking for a better wage. The strikes are popping up, but it seems like there's also a movement behind these workers. It's also some of these community organizers that are throwing their support.
You're absolutely right. There's talk that there's you talk to a lot of these companies, and they're saying it's not our actual employees that are striking. The union organizers, labor organizations that are trying to get into those markets. And the problem is that as they raise the minimum wage, this is the struggle. If they go to $12, $13, $14, $15 an hour, it makes it less and less of an incentive for these companies to have these employees, and they start to look at ways to get rid of them. And we're seeing that as technology becomes more and more proficient. Robots that can make hamburgers. The waiter terminator we were talking about.
The waiter terminator. This is what Applebee's restaurant is coming out with his iPad at your table, where you don't have to have a waiter. You just order everything on your Apple iPad.
Yeah, so they've been experimenting with this product, and essentially what it does is it limits the number of waiters and waitresses that they will need, because they have these terminals now where people can actually pay for the bill and order drinks, those kinds of things. So that's been a lot of people's concerns, that the people that need the jobs the most, people in the lower middle class areas that are dependent on these jobs, they could end up losing their jobs because of the high costs.
We're nearly out of time, but real quick, Black Friday shopping was a bit of a bust, lower numbers. You say that's good news as we head on into Christmas.
Yeah, everybody should be enthused. Here's the silver lining on this, very simply. If the numbers were low over Thanksgiving weekend, we had an extra day of shopping, and numbers were still bad, there's a lot of inventory. And that inventory that's built up at the stores or the retailers, they're going to have to increase the sales. And so we should see bigger sales going into the holiday season. So if you procrastinated, this may be a good thing.
Well, we had and you're not David's story. We got a bit of a graphic problem there, but I wish I was Stephen Carlton, but you're not.
sweet. I
It
like
said
that.
David's story on the screen. We need a TV because ours died today.
Yes,
So,
yes.
Good news. We'll head to Walmart or some other big box
There's gonna be big
store
deals.
and get
Yeah.
a good deal. Stephen Carlton,
Thanks,
first
David.
Vice President,
Good to
Janney
be here.
Montgomery Scott. Thank you so much. Now, to see this segment, all our segments, head to the website. It's looktvonline.com.